but I thought I would go live today because I'm going to be busy on the weekend. So, how are all of you guys doing? You want to know what's crazy? Since I'm here live, Hannah Montana has been a show for 20 years. I mean, not 20 years. What I mean is, Hannah Montana is celebrating their 20-year anniversary. Now, when Hannah Montana came out back in 2006, obviously I was not the demographic for Hannah Montana. I was 24. I don't think there's too many 24-year-old people watching Hannah Montana. Then again, I could be wrong. Hannah Montana was meant for the little kids. Okay, I was never into a lot of Disney Channel stuff. I did like when I was young, Carissa Explains It All. I was the demographic for that show. That show came out in, I want to say 91, 92, or 93. I was about 11. And, I watched a lot of Nickelodeon shows too. Rocco's Modern Life. You were 14 when Hannah Montana was big in 2007, but I never watched it. I didn't have cable. I didn't watch it when it originally came out. I saw it later on YouTube. But then again, I wasn't really big on a lot of those Disney shows. When it came to like Disney stuff, I was into the movies more. Like Aladdin, Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio, etc. Yeah, I was big into Nickelodeon as a kid. I love Ren and Stimpy. Was Ren and Stimpy? No, I don't think Ren and Stimpy was Nickelodeon. I think that was MTV. I liked Rocco's Modern Life. I'm thinking what else I liked. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Salute Your Shorts. Clarissa Explains It All. Um, what else did I like to watch as a kid on Nickelodeon? There's some other shows that are escaping my mind. We had a lot of things when I was a kid. Reading Rainbow, Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. A lot of shows. Barney. Yeah, Barney came out when I was little. Or was I little when Barney came out? No, wait. I was maybe like 12 or 11. Wasn't really little. But my siblings were little. So we definitely watched Barney with my siblings at the time, who were about, I'm trying to remember. I think Barney came out in 93. My sister Angela would have been about 6 when it came out. And my brother David was about 5. I'm like losing track of how old my siblings were when they were young, because I'm 82, Angela's 87, David's 89, Danielle is 96. Like, I remember everybody's birthday. That's the one thing I do, is I remember everybody's birthday. 1992, so I was 10. So technically, yes, I was a demographic for Barney. Wow. 1992, I was 10. Was I 10? Yeah, I was 10. Man, crazy. In 94, I turned 12, and I remember watching Lion King in theaters, and I cried. I cried at the scene where Mufasa died. Yeah, I cried at that. You were 93? Wow, you're a baby, man. You're a baby. My sister was 96. My youngest sister. She was born when I was like 14 years old. Or gonna be 14, so that's pretty crazy. And then I have my older brother. He's my half brother, but I consider him my older brother. He's born in 72. So he's actually 11 or 10 years older than me. You want to know what is stuck in my head right now is the new BTS song Swim. I just saw them perform on Jimmy Fallon at the Gugum Gugum Museum. I think that's what it's called. It's in New York City. And they performed on there, which was pretty cool. Also, I watched this thing on Tiny Desk. If you guys don't know what Tiny Desk is, NPR does this thing called Tiny Desk. And they have a lot of people that come on the show. They recently had Mumford and Sons, which is super cool because I like Mumford and Sons album Little Lion Man. I think that's what it's called. I'm trying to remember what the name of the first album is. And then I also liked the album with I Will Wait for You. Babel, I think it's called. Let me get my glasses, guys, so that I can read this chat much better. Like I need my little glasses. Hold up, guys. Let me mute. The same year I was born, Kiss released Alive 2, and the band released Genko. Oh, the band released Jericho. I'm like, why I say Genko? No, but seriously, the year I was born, the album Thriller came out by Michael Jackson. I can't think of anything more iconic than that album when it comes to 1982. Like, that album has stood the test of time. Thriller by Michael Jackson. It's crazy to think that that album at one time was the best selling album of all time. And then it got beat by the Eagles' greatest hits. Which I do like the Eagles. Don't get me wrong. I like Hotel California. I like Take It Easy. I like them. I like those songs. But Desperado. To be really super honest with you, for a time, Thriller was the number one album. Oh yeah. I never was really into Kiss. I know Creatures of the Night. Let me go and bring this out. Hold up. I'll be back, guys. Talk amongst yourself. I gotta clean these lens. I actually I had to clean these glasses before I show my face. Let me clean these glasses a little. Hold up. Yeah, I have the Eagles' greatest hits. I have the greatest hits, and it's good. In the comments. I mean, I think pretty much anybody or almost everybody has the Eagles' greatest hits volume 2. Like, I got a copy from somebody in the VC. They sent me a copy. And I think I also have a copy of another greatest hits compilation. I think from my dad. Or is it the first album? No, I have the Eagles' first album. And I have Hotel California. My mom had the first one from 1976. So did my dad. That's how I got my copy of the Eagles. My dad's the one who introduced me to the Eagles. And I know this is very cliche to say, but the very first Eagles song that I actually discovered was Hotel California. I feel like a lot of people who are young either discovered the Eagles through the radio or through their parents. Me, I discovered it through my dad. My mom didn't really know the Eagles. Hey, AZ Meth. We're here in the living room. Got my glasses on so I can read the chat. I've got a lot of things happening this weekend, so I thought I'd go live now. I know it's a little late that I normally go live, but we'll be live for an hour and something. I'm not going to keep this live until 12 a.m. because I don't want to keep my parents up. So we'll end it at an appropriate time. I feel like everybody at one point in the 70s probably owned something of the Eagles. But maybe then again, I don't want to say that everybody had Eagles records, but a good chunk of people probably owned the Eagles on record. I'm like thinking about the very, very, very first thing I ever owned music-wise. I mean, it's not embarrassing to say it, but the very first thing I owned music-wise was the New Kids on the Block. This is the right stuff? No, Step by Step on cassette. Yeah, that is the very first thing I owned. It was I want to say 89 or 90. Yeah, my dad had bought me it. It had the booklet where you got to know the members of New Kids on the Block. If I ever find it again, I would like to buy it just for nostalgic sake. Because my dad had bought it for me, I think, at a Kmart. Of all places, he had asked me what I wanted one year. And I said I wanted that cassette. So he bought it for me. And for the record, I like Joey. I was a Joey person. New Kids on the Block were big in 1980, 1990, along with Debbie Gibson and Tiffany. I did hear them. But for me, I think back in in the mid 80s and the 90s, I was really into New Kids on the Block, Journey, whatever else was on the radio in the 80s. That was what I was into. And then, of course, in the 90s, I started to develop likes for other things. REM, the 90s pop groups, NSYNC, Hanson, Backstreet Boys, and of course the rock music, Foo Fighters, Green Day, Third Eye Blind, And then I was also into, this is so random, but maybe it's not random. I was really into John Cicada. He had that song, Just Another Day. I remember I came home from school one day and I had my cassette ready and I waited on the radio for that song to come on and I recorded it to my cassette. Because that's what you did back then. You would record things to your cassette from the radio. So I spent all day listening to the radio just to hear that song. And then I also recorded Day and Night by I'll Be Sure. You know how that song goes? I can think about you day and night. Hey, Paul. Yeah, I spent a ridiculous amount of time listening to radio for that song when it came on. I did the same thing. I recorded. So I don't know why I didn't think to save my recordings from the radio. But it was fun. It was fun just listening to the radio, waiting for your favorite song to come on. Now, Coast now plays that stuff. So if I ever want to record again, I just listen. I remember Just Another Day was always on the radio here at the time. Yeah. And you know what else was big in the 90s is a lot of the British groups trying to make it out here. Blur, Pulp. Who else? Who else was trying to make it out? Oasis. I'm on a stream, Dad. I have to do it out here. Let me blow it. I love Dio's song with the same title on their album, 1985 album, Sacred Heart. But yeah, the whole like British invasion was very big out here. Was very big out here. It started with the Beatles. But of course, you know, as a kid growing up, that is what I remember. Blur, Pulp, Oasis, Supergrass. I remember that stuff. You know, I wasn't born when Beatles Mania happened. Anyways, let's talk about the obvious. So, Mr. Sir Paul McCartney released a new song. And this goes to show how big of a Beatles fan I am because I forgot the name of it, but it is very, very folksy. It's very folksy, and he's doing 7 variants. 7 variants for this album. And I'm like, 7 variants? Crazy. There's probably going to be more variants that comes out, but all of the Beatles people have been talking about it, and I thought I would offer this perspective of a person who's not a super huge Beatles fan, but likes the Beatles enough that I think I could talk about it. So yeah, Beatles have not the Beatles. Paul has a new album. Now, I'm not going to buy it. Because to tell you the truth, the last album I bought from Paul was Egypt Station on CD. And I bought that, I forgot what year it came out, but I bought that on CD. And before anybody says anything, because people like to, you know, say, Lisa's a hater of Paul McCartney. I have Ram. I have the very first Paul McCartney album on vinyl. And I have London Town by Wings. And I have about 8 or 9 Beatles albums. So, yes, I do have some stuff in my collection. I'm not one of those people that are going to go out and buy every single thing that Paul does or every single thing that the Beatles do, because I know that the Beatles have done lots and lots of, you know, anniversary pressings. like a 50-year pressing of Revolver or a 50-year pressing of Abbey Road. Lisa already saw Pink Green. What new album is Recollections of His Childhood. That's pretty cool because I read about that. And that's pretty cool, but 2018. I just don't know if I would pick up a vinyl. Maybe I'd pick up a CD if I see it out in a while. I'll just pick up a CD to have it in the collection because I don't find myself being a big enough Paul fan to like pick up a vinyl variant. So I'm definitely going to pick up the CD. I'm going to pick up the CD. Now I think of it, yeah. Yeah, I said I originally wasn't going to buy it, but you know what? I think it'd be cool just to have the CD. It's not too expensive. It'd be cool just to have if I want to, play from time to time. So, yeah, just pick up a standard CD. But are any of you going to pick up a variant? If so, what variant? Yeah, I get you. I get you. But I feel like I might want to pick up the CD. I'm not saying that I'm 100% going to go and pick it up, but I get you. Like, that's a realistic Paul fan, not being into everything he's done. But I feel like everybody and their grandma has talked about it. And also, Paul is doing 2 shows here at the Fonda. 2 shows. I was not even going to try because I knew that was not going to get picked. Hell, if Mazzy did not get picked for tickets for the Fonda and he's got a bigger channel than me, what makes you think I was going to get picked? That was my thought today. If they reopened it somehow and they let you sign up again. But I think that's long past. So yeah, there's going to be no phones at that show. But like if I somehow magically came across tickets, I'm not going to say no to it. I'm going to be like, hell yeah, I would go. I would move mountains to go and see Paul McCartney at an intimate setting at the Fonda. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I would totally be there. I'd take a picture before I get into the actual show. Like, I'd take a picture at the sign just to have a picture. But, yeah, if they said to me, hey, we got free tickets to the Fonda, yeah, you best believe I'd be there. Because he's a legend. He's a living legend, and who wouldn't in their right mind want to go and see Paul McCartney in an intimate setting? I like Ringo's latest track. It's been too long and it has quite... Yeah, Ringo's country album surprised me. I think that was the album before this album. Ringo's country album I did enjoy. I love Ringo's guest appearance in 1976. There's a great picture of him and Levon backstage during intermission with the San Francisco Poet. Oh. Cool. Now, when it comes to Ringo, I'll be really super honest with you. I've never really delved much into Ringo's solo stuff. Yeah, I never really delved deep into Ringo's solo stuff. The only 2 people that I've, delved into solo wise when it comes to the Beatles really delved into is Paul McCartney and George Harrison. I've listened to John Lennon here and there. Like, if I had to do a ranking, in my opinion, of who I like the best, I would say George, Paul, John, Ringo. Ringo would be last. Because I never really digged into Ringo's career, but from what I heard, it's okay. That's how I'd rank them. I enjoy John solo stuff. Just picked up the reissue of George Harrison live. Ooh, I need to look into that. I mean, it's a toss up. I could put John and Paul both in second place because I feel like John and Paul equally did really good solo stuff. So I feel like I could put them both at second and then put George at first. Cool. The Bad Mind is Richard Manuel playing a song Sunshine Life for Ringo's 90s, which had harmonies by George, but oddly enough, with Ricky Leah didn't sing. The Last Waltz is a great concert. It is indeed a great concert movie. I mean, if we're gonna talk about top five, I believe The Last Waltz would be in there along with The Doors live at the Hollywood Bowl 1968. I like the Led Zeppelin live at Madison Square Garden. I really enjoyed that. George Harrison's concert that he did for Bangladesh. Um, there's so many good things. There's so many good things. It's hard to kind of narrow it down to a top five. Robbie Robinson played guitars on Snickeroo on the 1974 follow-up Goodnight Vienna. Paula said that The Last Waltz is one of his favorite movies too. I bet. I have yet to see the new Paul documentary, Man on the Run. I have yet to see that. Also, I have not seen the Bruce Springsteen movie with Jeremy Allen White. You know, I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. I have quite a bit of Bruce Springsteen in my collection, and I still have not seen that yet. I've seen like bits and parts of it, but not in entirety. So now it's like I have to watch it eventually. I've heard, it's a mixed bag when it comes to the review of that movie. I'm not really too into people doing a lot of these music documentaries or just music biops. I know that we're going to get the Michael Jackson biop that's coming out in, is it April? I think it's April. It might be April or it might be May. Jafar Jackson, which is a nephew of Michael, is going to play the main part of Michael. And then we also have Domingo Coleman, who plays his dad. And we have various other people who are going to be in that movie. And to be really honest with you, I think it's going to be an exciting documentary biop to watch. Because I've always felt like they need a good Michael Jackson biop. And I think that's going to be really good. I was going through a period recently where I was listening to Michael Jackson, listening to Thriller, Off the Wall, Bad, History. Because I do like some of his 90s stuff. But of course, my favorite Michael Jackson album is Off the Wall. But like everything he did in the 80s, I really enjoyed. So there's no complaints from me. Oh, A Complete Unknown you gotta watch. Timothy Chalamet, I think, did a fantastic job of, just capturing Bob Dylan and the essence of Bob Dylan. Did he look like Bob Dylan? No, there was another guy named Dominic Sessia that I think would have been a better fit for Bob Dylan. He had more of the look of Bob Dylan, but they went with Timothy Chalamet. And then you have, what's his name? The name Edward Norton playing Pete Seeger. But I just think it's one of those movies, if you want to learn more about Bob Dylan as a person, it gives you a good insight into Bob Dylan. And of course, it has the famous Newport folk scene where Bob Dylan decides he's going to play electric guitar at the Newport Newport Folk Festival, which it did raise a lot of eyebrows when he did that. Pete Seeger was not too thrilled by the fact that he did that. Bad's your favorite? Bad's a good one. I mean, he did not do a single bad album in the 80s, in my opinion. Michael Jackson was just flawless through the 80s. And of course, I love the stuff that Michael Jackson did with the Jackson 5, which was the very first group he was in. My dad once suggested that if we go to America, we should do a stopover in Tulsa to see Bob's Archive. That's cool. If I ever go and travel to another state, I would love to go and see the place where Buddy Holly did where he did the concert that happened before he got on the airplane. I would love to see that area. And of course, I know people are going to say, well, you also got to go visit Lubbock, Texas. I think that's where Buddy Holly's from. I would love to go to that. I think that's in Oklahoma as well. The place where Buddy Holly did his last concert. And then I would love to go and see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is in Cleveland, Ohio. I would love to go to that. I'm thinking where else I would love to go to. I'd love to go to Nashville. I'd love to go and visit Tupelo? Tupelo, yes. I'd love to go visit Tupelo, where Elvis is from, and go to Graceland. So there's like quite a few places I would like to go music-wise. I'm not the biggest Elvis fan, but I feel like that's a piece of iconic history that I would just love to see, because I do like some Elvis stuff. I love his Christmas album. I think it's one of the best Christmas albums of all time. Blue Christmas is like definitely in my top 5. In my top 5 are Christmas songs that are not traditional Christmas songs. Yeah. But I'd love to go to San Francisco to see the spot where Winter Ballroom once stood from. Oh, that would be cool. And I would like to go to Haight-Ashbury too, which is a street in San Francisco, I believe. I'd love to go to Haight-Ashbury. I'd just love to see that area, and also Laurel Canyon, so I could go and see the whole, Laurel Canyon scene. That was a pretty pivotal moment in music. Love to also go to Hawthorne to see the Beatles. Not the Beatles. Why am I saying the Beatles? To see the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys plaque. That's in Hawthorne. That's where the Beach Boys are from. Now, if I did come into unlimited funds, I would love to go to Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool is crazy, and I would love to be there. You play it every year? I mean, my favorite Christmas album of all time is Bing Crosby's Christmas album. That's my favorite. Followed by Frank Sinatra's Christmas album. And then Blue Christmas. The Elvis Christmas album with Blue Christmas. And, I love the traditional stuff. Josh Groban's Noel is also another fantastic one to mention. And then I love the classic artists. Bing Crosby, Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Burl Ives. I love the classics. The girl who sang "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree," Brenda Lee. Yeah, there's a lot. It's getting a new reissue. What reissue this time are we getting of Pet Sounds? Because I saw a picture, and it looked like a CD reissue. But are we also getting a vinyl reissue? Because, I already have Pet Sounds on vinyl, and I have a standard black pressing. And I'm thinking to myself, do I need another reissue of Pet Sounds? Because I know there's like a green variant that I believe they did for 50th anniversary. And then I think there's like a split variant. And I'm just thinking to myself, are they going to just milk Pet Sounds again? Like, what's the specialty of why they are reissuing Pet Sounds? Is it an anniversary? Is it like a 55th anniversary of Pet Sounds? Because I know they did something for the 50th anniversary, which was cool. 50th anniversary vinyl and CD. I have to look into that. But I already own Pet Sounds, and I already have it on CD too. So I don't know. I have Pet Sounds on CD. It's somewhere in my room, and I have it on vinyl. And the vinyl, it was just some standard black pressing that I picked up from Amoeba Records back in like 2016. Nothing special, but I just wanted to have that album in my collection. They're doing stereo and mono in one package, gatefold sleeve. Cool. That's right. You got that right, Paulina. Mike Love needs money. Unfortunately, he does. But then again, if you think about it, Paulina, the record company's doing this. I'm sure, Mike Love and company has a say in this stuff, but ultimately the record company is just doing this because they're thinking, oh, this is going to be a good cash grab. Why not do one of the most iconic Beach Boys albums and re-release it again in mono and stereo? Because let's be honest, a lot of people love Pet Sounds. And Pet Sounds is probably one of the most iconic one of the most iconic Beach Boys albums. Would I say that Pet Sounds is their biggest selling album? I don't think so. I would say some of their earlier stuff. Now, I have a lot of Beach Boys. And I don't think I'm going to pick this up. Because it's just like, at this point, when a lot of these artists are doing reissues of albums that already exist in a while that you can get, it's like a cash grab to me. He is. I'm sure he's involved with the remasters, Paul. I'm not saying that Mike Love doesn't have a hand in this. Of course he does. Do I like Mike Love? Not really. Have I read the Mike Love book that came out a billion years ago? No. But we all know that Mike Love is, a little cuckoo. Raffi. I have some kids' albums. Well, if you think about it, Mike Love is the only surviving member besides some other members. I think Al Jardine, Blondie Chapman, because all of the Wilson brothers are dead. I mean, you think Brian Wilson would have gone for this? No, he wouldn't have. Wow, you guys really love Raffi. I don't collect a lot of children's records, but there was a guy on Facebook that's what he did. He collect children's records. And he had like 2,300 children's records, which I get it. People, okay, that's good to know. I get it that, people, love their children's records. I do too. I just think it's a very niche thing to collect children's record. And this guy just collect children's records. He didn't collect anything else. Now, for me, if I'm going to go collect children's records, I obviously want to get my Disney stuff because Disney is nostalgic for me. It's a part of my childhood. So I definitely do want to get the Disney stuff on vinyl. I don't have anything else besides It's a Small World, which I had to get that because that's my absolute favorite ride at Disneyland. So I saw it on Amazon used. So I bought it. I bought the copy with the book. Now they have reissued It's a Small World on a color variant, and I'm actually thinking of picking up the color variant because my original does have a little bit of wear and tear. That's the only reason why I'd probably pick up another copy of the album is my original sounds bad, which reminds me, I only got one Disney vinyl, and that's a little. Oh, well, I love Little Mermaid. I love Cinderella. I love Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast. The last record I bought hasn't came yet. The last record I bought was Arang from BTS. Arang. Yeah, Arang. It's being delayed. I checked and it says it's been delayed, so it's not coming yet. But that's the last record I bought. I bought Jungkook's version. But I will next month be pre-ordering Noah Khan's not the Great Divide. I have that. Noah Khan's newest album. And also I will be pre-ordering Niall Horan's Dinner Party. I didn't really stress out about getting a signed copy because I already have something signed by him. I like the way the Barnes and Noble one looks color-wise. I don't have too many green variants. So I'm probably going to spring for that at a later date. Because the one that I was looking at originally, thinking about getting, is already sold out. It was like this orange-red variant. And then who else do I need to get? I want to get Bruno Mars's album, The New Romantics, on vinyl. Romantic. I haven't gotten that yet. Eventually I will add that to the collection. And what else vinyl wise do I want to add to the collection? A better copy of Queen Jazz. Because I was listening to my copy of Jazz, which is an original pressing, and it's beat up to hell. So I definitely want to replace Jazz with another black variant. And then I realized I want to add way more Queen. So, yeah. But we're not doing that all at once. This is over a period of 6 months. I'm not a person that is just going to go buy a bunch of vinyls all in 1 month. No. I buy like 1 to 2 a month. 1 to 2 a month. Or 1 to 2 every other month. I don't really buy a lot of records, but right now the top 2 that I'm definitely going to get next month is Noah Khan's new album and Niall Horan's new album, Dinner Party. And there's like so many different covers for that album. I just like the one of him drinking coffee. I just think it, fits the whole vibe pretty well. I have the Australian pressing of Jazz, but it doesn't have the poster. Mine doesn't have the poster either. I haven't bought any Queen vinyl for years. Most of them are very expensive, especially the originals. It is hot in here, guys. I'm going to go in my room and put the fan on. I'll be back. Sorry, guys. My room has a lot of stuff in it right now because I am actually sorting through this room. I got the fan in the background because it is hot. So I have a fan. I will eventually install my other fan into this room. New vinyl general is pricey, and you don't always get a. Yes, it is. But for me, Paul, I've kind of narrowed it down. This is how I go about with new vinyl. I don't. Hey, Dwayne, I don't buy everything. I don't buy everything that comes out. For me, it's like I support my favorite artists. And not every person that I listen to is my favorite. So, like, I have my top 20 that I like, and that's who I support. Is like usually my top 20. So for me, it's like I'm not that person that every person that comes out with a record, I need to have it on vinyl. And I don't buy a lot of new records, to be really honest with you, because they are quite pricey, as you said. But like, I have my favorites and I support them, and I'll buy their records to support them. But there's so many artists that come out with records, it's like completely hard to keep up with them. And a lot of like my older artists, a lot of them I do buy them used because that's the way I like to buy them. But with this particular jazz record from Queen, I definitely want to get a newer copy, because my copy has a lot of crackles, a lot of pops. It makes it kind of unlistenable, to be really honest with you. And I've cleaned it before. And that record's been played a lot. Whoever owned that Queen record prior to me having it played it a lot when it came out. I have a feeling this person was really into Queen back in the day, and that was their go-to record from Queen, and they played it every day. Because I have a couple of records, or a few actually, or maybe 5 in my collection that are well worn out, because whoever owned it previous to me played it a lot. Now, I do have 90 Opera as well, but that's like a newer pressing, which I got from a company that I used to get records from. They had found me on YouTube and they reached out to me, so I used to get records from them. But then I stopped buying records from Black Box Record Club because I kind of liked the idea of knowing what I was getting. I was kind of over the whole mystery aspect. I've been ordering Japanese CD pressings directly from Japan on Discogs, as they are much cheaper within my tight budget. I don't have a lot of Japanese pressings. I have like two CDs from Japan. One is from a TV show that I liked called Together, and the other one was gifted to me by Fred. It's like a Japanese pressing of Whitesnake, so that's what I have. And I don't think I have any other Japanese pressings, to be really honest with you. But what I need to do one day is like go through my records, and I need to get everything sorted. I need to get everything like really sorted. Because I have like records that I've been saying for like the past 3 years. I'm going to get them in order. So what I need to do is the records that I have on my other shelf, I just need to get them in order, because I'm too lazy to go and put them on the other shelf. So I'm going to get that shelf in order tomorrow and get all those records in order, because we need to. I have an extra shelf, thank God, that I can put more records on. So yeah, we're going to get those in order. I wish there was more of those music sales in Australia. I know Australia is expensive for vinyl. I heard you guys pay an arm and a leg for vinyl in Australia. It's ridiculous. That's what I heard. There's a music sale at the Senior Citizen Recreation Center. They sell vinyl and other music related things. That's cool. We don't have that. We don't have that here. Seniors record set that I know of selling records, but we do have like a lot of record sales at our record stores, and then of course we have thrift stores. It's like a flea market, but for music. We have flea markets out here. I haven't been to one recently. I used to go to a lot of flea markets with my ex. That was his thing. He always went to flea markets, so I used to go a lot of those flea markets with him, but I don't do that anymore because it's far away. Actually, no. Now that I think of it, the closest flea market to me is in Pasadena. I would just have to take a bus to go there. I'll have to think about it. In the fall and spring, they have that where you can buy vinyl, CDs, and other musical related things, including posters. Yeah, I heard about that. There's like a record show in Buena Park. I've heard about that. There's also the flea market at the Pasadena Rose Bowl. There's also that as well. The next one's in April. Ah. So I just wanted to show you something real quick, guys. The records that I have in order. This is the situation right now. These are the records that I still need to get in order. Shout outs to the Lego set from BTS. But yeah, that's all the stuff I still need to get in order, man. And you know, I have a lot of things I need to get in order on that shelf. A lot of things. Yeah. I just put Woodstock there. I just put Woodstock there because it's been there forever. That's my dad's copy of the album. My dad gave it to me, so I have that. To be really super honest with you, that needs to be organized. So I need to do that. I need to get that organized. I need to move around stuff. I've been meaning for the longest time to get some like alphabet dividers. I mean, I need to. Sheen? Well, that's good to know about the band. I don't have any stuff by the band in my collection. There's a lot of groups and artists that I don't have in my collection. Because to tell you the honest truth, I do not want to get to a point where if I buy too many records, I don't have the space for it. I'm good right now. I do have space for some records, which I'm good. Because I'm not like buying like crazy. Because you know, you see the videos of people like, oh my gosh, I ran out of space. I don't have room for records. I gotta go and sell records, and I don't want to do that. But to be really honest with you, I'm not one of those people. Like, if I have to sell records to make space for other records, I will. I'm not going to keep things in my collection just for the sake of having them in my collection. I have no qualms about selling things to people. I have sold things in the past. Well, I don't have the last waltz, but I'll look into it. I have All Things Must Pass. My copy of All Things Must Pass is very beat up. But I could not pass it up when I saw it at the flea market. I paid $25 for it. It's a box set. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I bought All Things Must Pass. I think I bought my copy. I want to say I bought it in 2019, 2018. I just happened to be at this flea market booth and I was going through his records and I saw All Things Must Pass. So, of course, I went and I bought All Things Must Pass. And, you know, I do listen to it from time to time. It's a great album. I also have Cloud 9 by him as well. I kind of put the All Things Must Pass album with the box set because it is a box set, so I put it with the box set. I need to get my soundtracks. I need to get my soundtracks in one area. I got the stuff that Mazzy gave me a while back. I kind of keep those together, so I got to get all of the stuff that Mazzy gave me sorted out. I keep that collection in a separate area because it's stuff from his dear friend Coleman who passed away from cancer. And I like it to have its own area. And I do want to make like a little, what do you call it? A little divider for that. So I do want to do that. And then everything else, I want to integrate it within my Kylex shelves. So I'm going to have to start moving stuff around. It's going to be not too bad because I only have like about 100 and something records to get in order, which is not a lot. The reason why I haven't done it is because I got lazy. I got lazy about it, and I just haven't done it. So, I will eventually get to it. I'm not one of those people who has their collection all neat and tidy. I don't have my collection all neat and tidy. I've watched videos of people with their record collection to kind of get an idea of how they do their shelves, and people have these like aesthetically pleasing like record setups, and me, it's just like, this is what I've had for the past, well, 3 years, not 3 years. I've had for the past 2 years now, and I like it. I don't have any Ringo Starr. Unfortunately. Well, that's good to know. No, I don't have any Ringo Starr, Dwayne. Has it ever occurred to me to get Ringo Starr? Probably, maybe I might. Because I do have John Lennon, I do have Paul, I do have George. So I think it'd be kind of fitting to get some Ringo. But I want to know what's Ringo's best album. Like, if I had to get a Ringo Starr album, what would people say is Ringo's quintessential album that you guys think is Ringo's best and that you would recommend I get? Because I think someone said one time, Coming Up Roses, or there's an album with roses on it, and I know there's like an album with named Ringo and a star on it, and the name escapes me. Definitely keen on getting Goodnight Vienna if Robbie's on it. So yeah, I haven't decided yet. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, what's Ringo Starr's best album? What shall I get from Ringo Starr? Because, like, I'm not a kind of person that's going to buy everything that Ringo Starr does. I'm not that, you know, big of a Ringo fan to where I'm like, oh yeah, I need this album, I need that album. But I'm pretty sure that the Beatle people, they probably own everything he's done. I don't. Ringo's third album? Ringo was his third album. Okay. It's hard to keep up with Ringo. But I'm assuming a lot of people are going to tell me to get Ringo's album. I have to think about it. Because the only John I own is Milk and Honey. And then I have Julian Lennon's Valote, which is his son. You like Ringo Starr's country music? I listened to it. I thought it was pretty good. Sentimental Journey was widely despised at the time because he was a rock and roll legend and produced for covering old standards from the Great American Songbook. I see. I don't think that's bad. But it was ahead of his time before Stardust by Willie. Ah, yeah. I like Willie Nelson. But as I said, I have to do research and kind of determine what I would get by Ringo. I don't even know if I'd get a vinyl for Ringo. I might just get like a greatest hits. Just be one and done. And just get a greatest hits for Ringo Starr. Because I feel like that's all I really need for Ringo. Like, there are certain artists where I just get a greatest hits. Because I feel like I don't need everything you do. And then there are certain artists where I only get the album that I really think are good. Like Rod Stewart. I have Every Picture Tells a Story because that's my favorite. And then I have some like 45s. My grandmother from my dad's adopted family has Stardust on cassette. It was a big sell in Australia, 1978 to 1979. No surprise. I see copies in thrift stores. Speaking of Stardust, Robert Schwartzman is actually doing a documentary about Wayne Newton, which is going to be very interesting because I've never really listened to Wayne Newton, but it's going to be interesting to see, this documentary on Wayne Newton, because I went to Vegas with my grandpa one time, and Wayne Newton was performing at the Stardust, which does not exist anymore. I think they closed the Stardust and the Flamingo, but it's going to be interesting because also he did the documentary for the Zombies as well. Robert Schwartzman is a member of Rooney. I have Rooney's first album on vinyl. And then also, I'm just kind of curious. Truth and Beck's Ole are amazing works from Rod Stewart. Yeah, I mean, I do like his stuff with Jeff Beck. But in terms of like Rod Stewart's solo stuff, the stuff, he did apart from Jeff Beck, and the stuff he did in, the Small Faces, I like Every Picture Tells a Story. I like Young Turks. Tonight is the night. Do you think I'm sexy? Forever Young. I like that song. Wayne Newton's cover of Dankeschön was featured in Phyllis Boo's Day Office. Yeah, I love that movie. I used to watch a lot of John Hughes movies. In fact, I need to go and revisit it. John Hughes. Because the last movie that I watched from John Hughes was The Breakfast Club. It's kind of funny that you bring up John Hughes. I mean, because Andrew McCartney is going on a book tour for his newest book. And he was in a lot of movies in the mid-80s. And he was one of the Brat Pack. He also made a documentary about the Brat Pack. And it's a good documentary. If you guys are looking for a documentary about what happened to the guys who were part of the Brat Pack, you know, John Hughes made a lot of those movies that the Brat Pack were in. You had Andrew McCartney, Wally Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, John Cryer. Who else was Judd Nelson, Jay Spader. There's a lot of people who were in the Brat Pack. I don't even know if Jay Spader was in the Brat Pack. I think the Brat Pack might have referred to a small group of people in the 80s. Because if you think about it, we had a lot of those teenage movies in the 80s, and a lot of the kids in the 80s really sympathized with those movies. And I'm thinking back to all of the movies that I seen in the 80s. And I obviously was not watching those Brat Pack movies because I was too young when they came out. But when I got older, of course, I watched St. Elmo's Fire, Some Kind of Wonderful, Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club. I don't even know if you would consider this a Brat Pack movie, but I like Vision Quest with Matthew Modine. I really like that. Oh, and Anthony Michael Hall. How can I forget him? He was definitely a part of the Brat Pack. Amelia Estevez's sister was in the 1980 comedy horror Sleep Camp, Unhappy. Sorry, Bruce Springsteen's sister, Pamela. One of my favorite horror films of the late 80s, even though. Don't forget that Emilio Estevez's brother, Charlie Sheen. He's the one that kind of screwed up his life in the 2000s. He did a lot of movies too in the 80s. It's just very interesting that Charlie Sheen did not take the name Estevez. He decided to go with Sheen. And then his dad. His dad, his dad had quite the career. And I don't know if he's still doing stuff, Martin Sheen, but yeah. I love B Club, even though popularity at the time. Yes, he was. Charlie Sheen was in Felix Spears' Day Off. It's been a minute since I saw a movie, but that was one of Matthew Broderick's earliest roles. I like that movie. I need to revisit the movie again. It is. It is you know, if you think about it, there are certain families where they, they've done acting like two of the Wahlberg, two of the Wahlberg people, they do acting. Mark Wahlberg and Donnie Wahlberg. And then you have Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson, who are actors. And I'm thinking of who else. You have Maggie Gyllenhaal, and you have Jake Gyllenhaal, who does acting. And then you have River Phoenix, and you have Joaquin Phoenix. Unfortunately, River Phoenix died at 23 of a drug overdose, but Joaquin Phoenix still very much does movies. And then, of course, how can I forget the Macaulay brothers, Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin, Kieran Culkin. Kieran Culkin recently won an Oscar for his role. I can't think of the name of the movie. It was a Jesse Eisenberg movie. So yeah, you have a lot of siblings that end up, doing what their siblings are doing, and when you think about it, at the core of it, you're always going to have siblings that are either going to follow into the footsteps of acting like their other siblings, or you're gonna have, families that will dissuade the kids from doing acting. I mean, not every kid ends up doing what their parents do. Like, when I think off the top of my head, like Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro's oldest kid is a real estate agent. He has nothing to do with acting, even though his dad's a famous actor. But yeah, yeah, and then you've got the kids. Then you've got the kids who follow in their dad's footsteps or their mom's footsteps, and they decide they want to become actors or they want to become singers. And I'll be honest with you, some of these like nepo babies, they're not that good at acting. Like, it's just wild to me. It's just wild to me. They got all these connections. Like, recently, I discovered that Matthew McConaughey's son is in a movie with him. Never acted before in his life. And he was like, well, I'm just going to go and audition for this role, but I'm not going to use my last name. And people are probably thinking he got the role because his dad is Matthew McConaughey. And no, no. I would like to think that people are, picking a person for a movie based on their acting merits, not based on the fact that they are related to a famous person. And I've not seen that movie either. I think it's called The Bus. It's Matthew McConaughey, America Ferrera, and his son Levi McConaughey, and there's some other people in the movie. Billy Joel's wife, Christy Brinkley, was in the movie too, film too. I have yet to see the Billy Joel documentary because there's a Billy Joel documentary that has came out and I still have not seen it yet. Now, I love Billy Joel, and to be really super honest with you, there was like one record store day thing that Billy Joel did recently that I wish I would have gotten. But you know how I am about record store day. I don't really line up for that stuff. But now that my local record store is a part of RSD, I might consider lining up for it. Just because. Oh, you're definitely keen on seeing it? I want to see it. So eventually I will get to it and I will see it. I haven't decided yet when I'm going to see it. But I eventually want to see it. I'm going to run the stream for a few more minutes. But thanks to everybody that showed up. I didn't think anybody was going to show up this late, to be really honest with you. Because it is starting to get a little bit late, and I want to go do some other things, and I also probably will fall asleep, and I don't want to fall asleep on stream with you guys. Billy Joel is a great piano player. Indeed. Indeed, when I think about piano players, I like Billy Joel, I like Elton John. Um, I like Claude Debussy. Yeah. It's freezing outside. Winter came back. Lucky you. We do not have winter here in Los Angeles. In fact, I don't even think we had much of a winter here in Los Angeles. Well, anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna go now. I got some laundry that I gotta get out of my dryer that I've been meaning to get. That's good, AZ Mick. I'm glad that I could, give you some entertainment during work. I usually don't go on this late unless I do a panel. Thank you, AZ Mick, Paulina, Paul, William for being here. I mean, William beat you to it, AZ Mick. AZ Mick is no longer the first person in my stream. Dwayne. Anybody else that was watching? Thanks for watching. As I say at the end of every stream, treat people with kindness, peace, love, and grooviness. I got a lot of things coming up this week. I got a funeral to go to for one of my relatives, but I will see you guys